Welcome to our presentation on climate change and the bias of ambiguity aversion and how it blocks the progress of environmental protection and climate change mitigation. My name is Stephen Porter, and with me today are Tyler Harmon and Tianju Cho. Let's begin by taking a look at the science side of climate change. The Earth is warming at an alarming rate. Humanity's industrialization period set in motion a chain of events tied to our wasteful consumption that, if left unchecked, will topple society as we know it. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, sulfur hexafluoride, perfluorocarbons, and other ozone-depleting substances are spiking exponentially due to mankind's influence. These gases have turned out to be our silent killers, slowly choking the Earth as temperatures continue to rise with each passing year. In 2016, the planet hit a milestone and logged temperatures 1.1 degrees Celsius above what they were pre-industrialization. This planet-wide greenhouse, formed by these gases we have been emitting unchecked, form a layer in the lower atmosphere that absorbs the energy reflected off the Earth from the sun and then re-emits this energy back at Earth, blocking its escape. This greenhouse gas effect will result in a host of climate change-related fallout, leading to planet-wide environmental disasters, the like of which we have never seen. As temperatures continue to rise, more and more of our ice sheets melt, which lead to rapidly rising sea levels that will shrink coastlines and the percentage of livable land on this planet. Coupled with changes in weather patterns, resulting in massively increased rainfalls in some areas, while others turn into barren wastelands, as severely reduced crop yields plunge the planet into starvation. There is now overwhelming evidence that these greenhouse gases and the human impact on this planet, if left unchecked, will destroy humanity's life on Earth.
Peru, Costa Rica is a major coffee growing region in Central America. With its high altitudes, generally sunny weather, and cool temperatures, it is ideal for the cultivation of coffee beans. The region's economy is primarily based on the cultivation and export of coffee as well. Most farmers in the region own their own land, and most farms are small, at an average of 6.2 hectares. As a result, the income from coffee cultivation is barely enough to cover their day-to-day expenses, which means that the loss of income, even however small, will have major effects on the farmers in the region. Following the devastating tropical storm Alma in 2008, a group of researchers conducted field research on the coffee farmers of this region, with focuses on their own risk aversion and potential mitigation of climate change. These coffee farmers were presented with scenarios on possible risk of losing their crops as well as their income at a variety of different levels, with both known and unknown risks, which were designed to simulate potential unknown impacts by climate change and extreme weather events, such as the tropical storm from a few months ago. These farmers were then presented with an option to either write out this risk or to spend money on climate change mitigation, and this was then noted. Despite the increased risks of climate change in this hypothetical scenario, many farmers did not spend money on climate change mitigation, despite the risks of losing their crops and in turn their whole incomes. This is likely due to ambiguity aversion, that of the tendency of favoring the known over the unknown, which in this case would be climate change. While the outcomes of climate change has been extensively studied, namely the rise of global temperatures, there is still considerable unknowns surrounding what this may entail to the average person. While it may be easy to plot the rise of temperatures on a graph, it is hard to conceptualize the long-term effects to a coffee farmer, for example. To the coffee farmers, an unusual weather event of a tropical storm would be devastating, yet it would be unpredictable, and it simply makes no economic sense to spend their incomes on climate change mitigation practices when the tropical storms are unpredictable in the first place. This unknown risk of what the climate change might entail for the average person is likely a major reason as to why policymakers and political leaders have been so reluctant on fighting climate change.
with all of this in mind, what exactly is the ambiguity aversion? What is this? Ambiguity and uncertainty basically are going hand in hand, and this was established by the Ellsberg paradox. As the economist Ellsberg put it in 1961, let's consider a hypothetical. Let's say there are two urns in front of you. Both urns have 100 black and red balls in them each. Urn number 1 has an even ratio of 1 to 1 of red and black balls. Urn number 2 has an unknown ratio of red to black balls. Let's say I were to give you $100 if you could pick from one of the urns a red ball. What urn would you pick? According to Ellsberg, more than likely, you are going to be choosing urn number 1 as you know the ratio of red to black compared to urn number 2 with the unknown ratio. However, consider this. What if I were to ask you to pick a black ball? Then what urn would you be picking from? Would you pick urn number 1 with the known ratio? Or would you pick urn number 2 with the unknown ratio? Logically speaking, since you chose urn number 1 for red, it would make sense that you would choose urn number 2 when picking out a black ball. However, this paradox states that because urn number 2 has an unknown, you will always choose urn number 1. Urn number 1, there is a certainty to that risk, whereas with urn number 2, there is uncertainty to that risk. Applying ambiguity aversion to our climate and the current climate crisis that we are in, how exactly does this fit together? Well, taking a look and knowing what the effects of climate change are, that poses a known to humanity. We are well aware of what the effects could potentially be if we do not do anything. We do have quite a bit of certainty from the scientific community that we will see an increase in droughts. We will see an increase in famine. We will see an increase in heat waves. We will see an increase in extreme weather patterns. Those are presented to the public as knowns. Unfortunately, what is not necessarily known about mitigating climate change is what comes after climate change. In the year 2022, we are going on the third year of a global pandemic. A lot of individuals are very concerned for the future outside of the issue of climate change. These issues and these concerns come from the politics of today, the economics of today, and the social and cultural changes that are currently taking places. These three changes are all a part of an uncertainty that we don't know. I think that a lot of individuals right now are questioning whether or not the future is worth fighting for. And when applying ambiguity aversion to our climate, unfortunately, what we need right now are more individuals giving us answers for what a bright and beautiful future we could have if policymakers took the adequate steps to mitigate climate change.